Mom, school's around the corner and I still need a new backpack. And I need new shoes. I need new glasses.
And I need a break.
Need a place where you can get everything done under one roof? Poughkeepsie Galleria is your back-to-school headquarters with stores like Target and Five Below. So go, get it all done under one roof and maybe even reward yourself after. Poughkeepsie Galleria, something for everyone.
In 1984, after Macy's scrapped plans to build a department store in nearby Fishkill, New York, plans for a third mall in the city of Poughkeepsie, New York would be submitted, drawing mixed reactions, with some even starting petitions against the development, in an area that up until the 1960s had been mostly rural farmland, when a greater push to the suburbs would see a population boom in the region. But in 1987, the new $75 million mall would open as planned, totally eclipsing both previous malls in the area with 160 stores, 6 anchors, and 1.1 million square feet. Local newspapers reported that anticipation was something akin to Christmas in the summertime, as many awaited the grand opening of the Poughkeepsie Galleria. Since that time, the mall has worked hard to remain a community hub. And though online shopping has certainly taken its toll here, as with all brick-and-mortar stores, the Galleria has thus far stood the test of time and remains Dutchess County's premier shopping destination.
If you know Ruin Road, you know we value our privacy. In our personal life, it's not always easy to maintain. Whether we know it or not, sites will mine our data like full name, email, health records, and more, which they will sell to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who wants to snoop. That's why we started using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows us which data brokers are selling our personal information and automatically submits opt-out requests on our behalf. This not only reduces the amount of spam you'll get, but protects against hackers who can use this information to gain access to our social media, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Aura also provides a ton of other features bundled into one easy-to-use app at an affordable price. You get antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without needing to bother with different apps. We all have one or more of these tools already, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. And if you're a regular viewer, you'll know how often that happens. Like 24-hour security, motion sensors, and guard dogs, Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping my info safe so I can focus on other tasks with peace of mind. Relaxing. Ruin Road values our privacy, and we also value yours. Go to aura.com/ruinroad to start a free 2-week trial, also linked below in the description.
It was not until people with imagination created in Poughkeepsie Galleria not just a shopping mall, but the shopping mall, the marketplace that the people of the region need and deserve. With Poughkeepsie Galleria, the collective need of the region will be met as never before, because like a Xanadu rising in their midst, Poughkeepsie Galleria will have no rival, will offer unparalleled promise, and produce great dividends. Until now, the people of Poughkeepsie were without such a marketplace. Until now, there was no Poughkeepsie Galleria.
When it opened in August 4th, 1987, 5,000 shoppers entered the first day, which featured a ribbon cutting by Miss New York State Alice Neasley, free chocolate, fashion shows, music by the Hudson Valley Philharmonic Orchestra, and a raffle for a $10,000 college scholarship. The next 3 weeks would feature a variety of events such as clowns, magic shows, and appearances by soap opera stars Richard Sjoberg of All My Children, Lily Walsh of As the World Turns, and Rusty Shane of Guiding Light. A 10,000-person private gala had been held 2 nights before the grand opening, where mall developers Pyramid Company announced they were planning a further 5 malls to be opened within 2 years' time. As their 12th mall to open, the Galleria was unique in its emphasis on use as a civic space and upscale shopping, featuring a community room, coat check, bathroom attendants, and airport-style lounge seating throughout the concourse. But the opening was not without a few kinks. Chiefly, the floor tile was not all done, and one woman would trip on a cracked piece, twisting her ankle and sending her to the hospital. While the mall was an immediate success, many officials still had a bad taste in their mouth over Pyramid's strong-arm tactics to move in, having donated over $777,000 to Republican lawmakers, which they would be investigated for corruption charges. A security guard would also go to the media in February 1988 stating he had been fired for attempting to unionize, and his case would be taken to court that summer, but the outcome was never reported. The Galleria would host a Special Olympics Radiothon fundraiser in January 1989, headlined by the Gary Nichols Band. But later that month, the last anchor store to have opened in the Galleria, Filene's, would announce it was closing. And despite Sears announcing they would be moving from the next door South Hills Mall, that mall's owners announced that things were not as dire as first feared. But actually, they had experienced increased traffic from the Galleria, as a connector road had been built between the two malls. A section of the National Names quilt would come to the mall for a few years starting in 1990. First beginning 5 years earlier, the Names quilt is the largest community folk art project in the world, still going on today to memorialize those lost to the AIDS virus, with each patch representing a life lost. As of today, the quilt is over 120,000 meters in size, and Poughkeepsie locals could come to the mall community room to sew their own patches on. That summer, as Pyramid was still in court for corruption charges, a judge would also rule that contractors were allowed to sue over unpaid wages after they filed a civil suit that showed while the mall hadn't paid them, it had disbursed $28 million to its investors. The early 90s would see a number of anchor changes to the mall, with Jordan Marsh and G. Fox both leaving, but immediately being snatched up by Sears and Filene's, who moved back to the Galleria in 1993, just 4 years after initially having closed their anchor. Montgomery Ward would also fill the still vacant 6th anchor during this time, along with Hoyt Cinemas doubling from 4 to 8 screens, and Dick's Sporting Goods replacing Steinbach's. In 1991, perhaps the most thrilling annual fundraiser would begin at the mall. The annual Rocking Chair-a-thon would host entertainment while people rocked in chairs for 5 hours straight, which had 70 rockers for its second year. Since 1989, the mall had also hosted a bicycle race around the outer loop, with 3 different lengths around the mall, which is a 1.4-mile lap. When the mall reached 75 million customers in 1995, a celebration was held with prize drawings, and the first 75 people to visit received goodie bags. The following year, when one shopper was detained for shoplifting, police would realize that they had just caught a fugitive on the run for over a year after he shot a 15-year-old boy, and Saquon Storts was promptly sent to jail. For their 10-year anniversary in 1997, the Galleria announced a plan for a $75 million expansion, which would nearly double the mall, already the 113th largest in the country, and received an estimated 190,000 visitors per week. The proposed unconnected Lowe's store would be approved the following year, but in 1999, neighbors would file a $3.5 million lawsuit against Lowe's and the mall. Despite this, and the expansion plans never coming to fruition, the mall juggernaut continued to grow, and by the new millennium, a slew of new stores would open inside, filling 139 of 140 spaces. Amidst all this, the mall would become the focal point for a missing persons case. It was July 20th, 1999 when 40-year-old Katharina Richter would last be seen leaving the Weymouth gift store here in the mall where she worked. telling a coworker she would be back after running some errands. 6 weeks later, her car would be found abandoned in a Manhattan parking garage. But the mystery would eventually be solved in 2001 when she used a legal document from her life in Poughkeepsie. Turns out, Kathy had decided she just wanted to start a new life. As online shopping rose in the early millennium, the mall was still working on drawing shoppers in, bringing in Robin Moore, author of The French Connection, for a book signing, holding an indoor fishing contest, a German festival, and their annual Hanukkah celebrations. In 2004, wind damage would rip up a section of the mall's roof, allowing water to get in and cause a ceiling collapse that damaged 40,000 square feet of the mall. 2 years later, a massive renovation would begin, with numerous tenants remodeling or relocating, parking lot repairs, and new tenants such as Banana Republic, The Body Shop, and skater apparel store TSX. But it seems not enough repairs were made when a section of the parking garage would collapse on Valentine's Day weekend 2007. Amidst a blizzard, plows had begun piling the snow in a mountain on the top floor of the garage, which would break down to the floor below. While several shoppers were left stranded in the mall for several hours until their cars could be safely removed, no injuries were reported, nor were any cars damaged. Though repair work had been done just 6 months before, the mall would reinforce the entire structure to hold double the weights it previously had. Actor Peter Facinelli, who played one of the Coen brothers in Twilight, would appear at the mall in March 2010 as part of a charity fundraiser. While that summer, the Best Buy would bring in local band We Are the In Crowd for a signing of their new CD. That season would also see that JCPenney begin a $4.1 million renovation to their store at the Galleria. The mall continued hosting community events and fundraisers, with a new annual tradition beginning in 2012 called the Canstruction, where the public donated canned food and students were allowed to build sculptures with it first inside the mall, which were then voted on before the cans were taken to the food bank. In 2013, the well-used community room at the mall would be dedicated to Herbert Lee, a security guard who worked in the mall since its opening and had passed away the previous year. For their 30th anniversary in 2017, the Galleria held a ribbon-cutting celebration along with prize drawings in an 80s costume contest, with the grand prize winner receiving a gift certificate for $198.70 after the mall's opening year. As the Poughkeepsie Galleria entered its third decade of operation, it was holding strong until the 2020 pandemic, which would see both Penny's and Sears close within just months of each other. But by 2022, the mall was able to bounce back, bringing in a string of new tenants. While as of 2025, they are still down to 4 of the 6 anchors, the Galleria remains a popular destination as the sole remaining mall in the Poughkeepsie region. And true to their opening promises, the Galleria has maintained the philosophy that they are not just a shopping mall, but a community center, bringing in not just entertainment, but also providing group and charity space for their fundraisers or meetings. While they may have needed to muscle their way into Poughkeepsie, no doubt their efforts to serve as a destination for retail, entertainment, and the community will hopefully ensure the Poughkeepsie Galleria's continued success for years to come.